People do strange things in doorways. I love this headline. Tiernan Ray here with me for ZDNet. Tiernan, I know there's more to the headline, but that part is really catchy and really an interesting startup behind this story and a product that they brought out to the market. One of the things all companies are doing, right? Just trying to figure out how to best space out their employees, how to keep things safe. And this particular piece of technology could really help with this. Tell us about it.
Karen, we always think it's pretty basic. Like you send some workers back, you ask who wants to go back, that kind of thing. Actually, some companies are trying to measure precisely who's in a facility. And there's two reasons. One is they want to make sure they don't let too many people back into any given space for social distancing reasons. And secondly, some companies seriously want to cut down on the properties they lease or own because they're trying to tighten their belts in a pandemic. So Density, a startup that is nominally based in San Francisco, but which is now all pretty much working from home, has a silver box that they put over a doorway. And this solves a tricky problem that you wouldn't think would be a problem, which is how do you measure people coming through a doorway? The CEO and co-founder, Andrew Farah, told ZDNet that the problem is people stand in doorways, they talk on their cell phones, they hesitate, they carry stuff, maybe they're carrying a hat box. With traditional infrared sensors, if you're measuring the shape of things, someone carrying a hat box could look like two people hugging. It could confuse the sensor. So you're trying to figure out what are those shapes in doorways. And so their technology, which includes machine learning algorithms, is trying to take this data from sensors and say, what exactly is in a doorway? Is it a person? Are they moving into or out of a space? And that's what they have been selling at an extended clip now for several months since COVID.
And I think what's really interesting about it, we were saying, you were telling me earlier before we started recording here, though, is use the example of like say the cafeteria or a lunchroom where you have some employees and short of having someone there with a clipboard checking who's coming in and out, this is a great way to really keep track of the
Right.
volume.
It's not just specificity, Karen. It's not just measurement, but then it's presumably actionable measurement, by which we mean once these sensors installed in doorways send a count of people up to the cloud can then use that information in the service of the clients in a number of ways. One of the most obvious examples is they can send an alert to a flat panel television set outside of a lunchroom. Let's say a lunchroom is authorized for 50 people for appropriate distancing. And let's say you have 70 people in total at that company office. You don't want 51 people going into the lunchroom. So as soon as the sensor counts that it's at full capacity, you can beam a message onto this flat panel TV outside the lunchroom saying max capacity, do not enter. And you can do this in lots of different instances and try and use sensors and actionable data to then control the messages to control the flow of people through an office.
Excellent. And as you mentioned with the two-pronged reason here, the one being to keep people distant and to keep from, too many of them in an area, but also, there is a lot of real estate out there, a lot of vacant space, and with budgets being tightened now, as a result, this could help them for future planning.
Amazing
too.
stat, Karen. CBRE Group, which is the largest property management firm in the world, has this stat, which is quoted by Density, that 41% of US real estate square footage is currently unused. So that's about 4.5 billion square feet in the US, worth upwards of $1 trillion. So as Farah said to us, in an up market when things are great, WeWork's going great. Everyone's looking for liquidity, new space. Everyone doesn't mind a little extra square footage that they're paying for. In a down market like we're in now, people start scrutinizing. Property managers, facilities managers inside of companies are suddenly talking directly with the board and with the CEO about what can we get rid of. And so one of the other actionable items once you have this count in the cloud is to say, can we get rid of some of these properties? Can we halt our capital expansion plans? Can we maybe convert leases to other tenants, use it as a mixed space? And so the analysis of how many people are in a facility becomes a kind of constant measure of what are we using? What's our maximum effective yield from that property? And should we just get rid of some of it?
Yeah, definitely some questions that need to be asked, again, with budgets being tightened so much. Tiernan, finally here, I know you mentioned that they're out of San Francisco, everybody working from home, of course, right now, but is the product fully out on the market, and what is the cost we're looking at here?
Oh yeah, sure. They've actually had extended business since COVID started. All the things around planning, space management got more urgent. And so the CEO says in a matter of months, they had like a 75% increase in their business. They charge a basically $900 fee to install a box, a one-time setup fee. And then they charge $800 per box per year as a subscription basis to measure and send that data to the cloud and then do things from the cloud, like send these alerts to a workspace about don't go into a room. And so for all of that, they're deploying, in some cases, thousands of these devices per client. There are clients who have tens, hundreds of thousands of employees scattered throughout multiple countries around the world that they have to ship to. And so you can imagine they can make tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars with the total aggregate number of boxes per client by deploying these things in tons and tons of workspaces.
Wow, I guess the timing did work out well, for them. Who would have thought that this would be something that people would be needing on the fly now as we're making so many decisions and moving through this pandemic, Tiernan. Well, thanks for being with me here, of course, today. Much more on this in the article there that you have up on ZDNet. We hope all of you all will check that out, and we certainly appreciate you watching.